Thank you. I know it's been late, so I won't try and take up too much of your time. I know I'm also standing between you and your lunch. So, అందరికీ నమస్కారం. వేదిక పైన ఉన్న గౌరవనీయులు పరిశ్రమల శాఖ ముఖ్య కార్యదర్శి జయేష్ రంజన్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు టీఎస్ఐఏసీ చైర్మన్ బాలమల్లు గారు, గౌరవనీయులు టీఎస్ఐడిసి చైర్మన్ లక్ష్మీనారాయణ గారు, కమిషనర్ ఆఫ్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ కృష్ణ భాస్కర్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు టీఎస్ఐఏసీ ఎండి గారు నరసింహారెడ్డి గారు, గౌరవనీయులు ఫికీ అధ్యక్షులు మురళీకృష్ణారెడ్డి గారు, గౌరవనీయులు ఫిటాప్సీ అధ్యక్షులు అనిల్ అగర్వాల్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు డిక్కీ జాతీయ అధ్యక్షులు నర్రా రవికుమార్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు తెలంగాణ ఇండస్ట్రియలిస్ట్ ఫెడరేషన్ అధ్యక్షులు సుధీర్ రెడ్డి గారు, గౌరవనీయులు పెద్దలు శేఖర్ రెడ్డి గారు, వేదిక ముందుండి ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్పంచుకుంటున్న చాలామంది పెద్దలందరికీ పేరు పేరున I think many of you have spoken, so I'll not go into the names, but to all the representatives, to all my officers, and to all the representatives of various industry bodies, I firstly thank you for joining us today, and I thank the friends from media as well for being patient and for bearing with us. Firstly, I should tell you one thing. Nobody's really asked us to come out with an annual performance report. It is a metric that we have kept for ourselves. We said, we have to measure ourselves every year in terms of performance, in terms of how we have accomplished what we have set out to accomplish. So therefore, I would like to compliment, whatever kind words have been said. Many, many kind words have been said, attributing a great deal of, success to me and Jayesh. But I think, as a matter of fact, one individual or two individuals cannot bring about this sort of an effect. I think it is my entire team, Industry and Commerce Department's team, who really deserve a big round of applause. Starting with Principal Secretary all the way down to every single individual who is part of my Industry and Commerce Department. Firstly, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to them, because I think no individual is a repository of wisdom, no institution is a repository of wisdom. Every day is a constant learning for all of us. So whatever we have been able to accomplish, in the last 8 years is thanks largely to the multi-stakeholder approach that we have taken. All the industry bodies have cooperated with us. We have been given many, many kind opportunities to represent ourselves on various world forums, which again we are thankful to, those industry bodies as well. And of course, without the support of the small, the micro, the medium, and the mega investors, no state will continue to progress. So I thank the entire industry community, the stakeholders who are the most important stakeholders. Now, I also felt at one point when everybody was praising, I was a bit worried as well. Typically they do that only when you're retiring. So I was a bit worried. कि क्या ये लोग मुझे भेज रहे हैं क्या कहीं कि why am I getting so much? So thank you Shekhar Anna for that. Thank you Shekhar Reddy garu for that nice speech you gave. But I am very confident that good work will be rewarded, good work will be recognized. So I am a very confident, person in public life, that people will recognize good work. So I am not going to retire anytime soon. You can be rest assured. I'm going to be around for a while. Now, just a quick thing, no matter what I say in terms of numbers, I think the fact is, there was a time in 2014 when the state was newly formed. There were lots of doubts. Like Mr. Muralidharan said, a lot of people were worried as to what would happen to the industrial IT ecosystem in the state of Telangana. I think after 8 years, we can successfully and very proudly and happily say one thing. There was a time when we had to make a lot of effort to introduce the new state of Telangana to the world. But now, 8 years later, wherever I go, wherever my team goes, wherever my directors from the industries department go, wherever my officers go, we are always, without even us having to be there to remind anybody, we are now mentioned in the same breath as some of the most progressive, some of the most well-settled, industrialized states which have been there for a very, very long time. Typically in India, wherever you go, people talk about Tamil Nadu, people talk about Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat. Now, not a day goes by, not a meeting goes by without the mention of Telangana in the same breath. Now, that is a testament. That is a telling comment and a testament to the kind of presence we've been able to create, to the kind of visibility we've been able to bring to Telangana. Now, this, of course, did not happen in a single day or in a single month or even a single year. Led by our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri KTR Garu, right from the top. I think that will has percolated all the way down to various departments, down to various officers, and the entire administrative machinery. And that's why you are seeing results today. So it's not one individual or a few ministers or a few bureaucrats. I think the 3.5+ lakh government employees that work in the government of Telangana, all of them are definitely deserving of due credit for the number of stellar achievements that Telangana has had in the last 8 years. Now, one thing I will tell you, which I believe, is the real mantra of Telangana. What happened and how things have, evolved in Telangana is because of the 3I mantra. The first I is innovation. The second I is infrastructure. The third I is inclusive growth. On innovation piece, a lot of people assume, a lot of people suppose that innovation is only confined to some aspects of business or some aspects of, technology, to be more precise. A lot of people think innovation is all about technology innovation. No. Innovation is actually about disrupting the way you think, disrupting the way you work, disrupting the way you process your thoughts. What do I mean? Innovation can be practiced by anybody. Innovation can be practiced by government. Innovation can be practiced by institutions. Innovation can, of course, be practiced by individuals as well. That is exactly what Telangana has done. We have disrupted our policy. When this government came in 2014, our Honorable Chief Minister, in a similar room like this, held a marathon 7-hour session with various industry bodies. The CII, the FICCI, the FITAPSI, the DICCI, and many others, HICIA, NASSCOM, many others. He sat with them for over 7 hours. He discussed threadbare with his entire team of officers. I think this was in 2014, June or July, right after the state was formed. He sat for 7 hours. He sat and he didn't speak much. He actually heard more. He actually was getting the feedback from the industry. He kept asking them, probing them, what is it that you need? What is it that you need to make it work, to make Telangana a safe haven, an investment magnet, etc., etc. And whatever you have said that day, he has taken it in letter and spirit, imbibed it, and has come out with one of the best policies, best innovations that he could have in the form of TS iPass. Now, when I go out to any country, to any state, to any city, and when I speak about TS iPass, not only does my heart swell with pride, but the other party who's actually on the other side of the table, typically their eyes pop open when I tell them that in Telangana, we have conferred upon the investor a right to self-certification. No state in India has done that in 75 years of independence. In Telangana, we have brought about a system of deemed approvals. If your permission is not given in 15 days, on the 16th day it's a deemed approval. No state in India will tell you that. In Telangana, we've had the guts, the gumption, the audacity to take the bureaucracy and red tape head on. We said, if any bureaucrat is found responsible for a delay beyond the 15-day stipulated window as per statute, we will actually fine you. We'll actually levy a penalty of rupees 1,000 per day. I don't think any Prime Minister or any Chief Minister in independent India has had the gumption to say that. Not just say that, but also incorporate that in a piece of legislation which makes it binding as per law. That is Telangana for you. That is innovation. That is disruption for you. Not only have we innovated on the industrial policy, you look at our municipal policy, you look at our irrigation policy, you look at our rural development policy, you look at our textile policy, you look at our mining policy, every sphere of life which is relevant and pertinent to a common man. We have actually innovated, we have come out with some truly pioneering work. Talking about TS iPass, which is, of course, off context here. When I met with KPMG chairman back in 2016-17, I think it was, in New York, and when I was telling him the salient features of TS iPass, and when I said, no state in India will offer you this, deemed approval, self-certification, penalties, etc., etc. He smiled and he said, no state in the United States also will offer you this. You might want to say that very loud and very clearly. That is Telangana for you. We have set new benchmarks. We have raised the bar high in policy making, not only for the rest of the country, but for many other countries across the world as well. And I always say this. A lot of people think when we come out with a new policy in itself is not enough. Because people can come out with nice slogans. It's easy. Slogans are easy to come out with. They roll off a tongue very easy. But you have to back them up with good policies. And you have to, more importantly, back them up with good enforcement. As a result of TS iPass today, because a lot of people think when it comes to investing in India, people always, every government, every chief minister, every prime minister promises a single window. But joke ये है कि वो single window के पीछे हमेशा multiple window छुपे रहते हैं. That is the joke. कहीं भी जाओ लोग बोलेंगे हाँ भाई ठीक है आप single window बोलते हो, but पीछे बहुत सारे और लोग छुपे रहते हैं और वो लोग आपको काम नहीं करने देते हैं. बट तेलंगाना में जब हमने ये TS iPass लागू किया, we have trained our people all the way from top to bottom. Today the reason why I'm thanking my department and my employees is because they've truly accepted the change. Human beings typically are resistant to change. We don't change. We don't handle transition very easy. But my department and also 32 other departments and government officials who are used to doing business in a certain way have understood the intent of the Honorable Chief Minister and have actually worked with us over the last 7.5, 8 years, which I think has really brought in a lot of results. So TS iPass, today I'm happy to share with you all, of course, give you the exact numbers. More than 2.32 lakh crores of investment through TS iPass in the last 7.5 years. More than 19,000 clearances been given. More than 1.6 million direct jobs that have been created. This is truly a testament to a government that works. In fact, Mr. Murali Krishna Reddy was saying, the acronym or the coinage, startup state. Sir, startup state is not only because we are open to change, we are willing to experiment, we are willing to innovate and disrupt. It's also because we are very agile. You've given us a suggestion today on streetpreneurs. You said street entrepreneurs. I love the word streetpreneurs because, ecopreneurs, streetpreneurs, agripreneurs. I think we'll take it up in the right earnest. We'll certainly, nanopreneurs. No, we certainly will take it in the right spirit. And I assure you, myself and Jayesh Ranjan, we will form a body of, industry representatives. And we will ensure that the man on the street, the women on the street, like you put it, the micro, the smallest of the entrepreneurs, we will work with you in ensuring that their lives are made better. I think there's no bigger satisfaction to any government than this. So Jayesh, I request you to form that industry body, get a little bit more from Mr. Reddy on what he had in mind, and we'll certainly do it, sir. I think that's the collaborative approach that we've taken. Now, on innovation, like I said, it's been one of our fundamental things. We've innovated and we've done our best we have put our best foot forward in terms of ensuring that policy innovation happens continuously, and we continue to learn. Recently, I was with Mr. Ravi Kumar Narra on 14th of April, and he had proposed something. He's the president of the Dalit Industrial Chamber of Commerce, so he had proposed something. He said to encourage more entrepreneurs from Dalit community and tribal community, we have to make a few more changes to T-Pride. We have not only readily accepted, we have also issued the relevant government orders immediately. That's how government of Telangana works. That's how we actually learn. We believe learning is continuous. We know that our shelf life is limited. Therefore, learnings are continuous. We learn from you. We understand from you. And especially, with COVID and everything else that has happened, we understand the travails and the problems that industry is also going through. So, we will continue to work with you. Now, the second piece of the III mantra is infrastructure. Now, infrastructure is extremely important if we really have to make India, get into that first world orbit. I've said this in the past. For those of you who've heard me, forgive me, but I'll say it again. I think India, if it really has to achieve the greatness that it always believed it deserves, I think we have to step up. We really have to compete on a world scale. If we really want to be in the first world of nations, We're still a third world country. Our per capita income is only $1,800. We're still a third world country. Now, if India really wants to step up and dream big and achieve big, more importantly, I think fundamental changes in infrastructure are important. If a Telangana, which is the youngest state in India in 75 years after 75 years of independence, can achieve or can create the world's largest pharma cluster, Hyderabad Pharma City, if Telangana, the youngest state of India, can conceptualize and create India's largest textile park, India's largest medical devices park, why can't other states do it? Why can't Government of India do it? Why can't Government of India think on scale? Now, why do I want Government of India to think on scale? Unless you create infrastructure on scale, you cannot achieve economies of scale. And unless you achieve economies of scale, our entrepreneurs, our industrialists cannot compete with the large manufacturing countries like United States, like China, like Indonesia, like many other countries which have done exceedingly well in manufacturing. Now, if India really wants to create a workforce in rural areas, in semi-urban areas, in suburban areas, this is the key, this has to be the key. Incentivize performing states. Please remember, stronger the states, stronger the country. In a federal republic, Prime Minister keeps talking about Team India. Prime Minister also refers to cooperative federalism. If he truly believes and if he truly means what he says, then he has to and his government has to incentivize performing states, not disincentivize us, not penalize us for performing well. My humble submission and my humble request to the Honorable Prime Minister, to Government of India, to all the powers to be in New Delhi, please remember that the stronger the states perform, the better the states perform, the better it is for the country in terms of our overall growth story. So please support and encourage states irrespective of their political affiliations. हाँ, हम लोग क्रिटिसाइज करेंगे, डेमोक्रेसी है, भारत दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा जनतंत्र है. हाँ, जब आप अच्छे काम करेंगे तो तारीफ करेंगे, सपोर्ट करेंगे, जब आप ठीक नहीं काम करते हो तो क्रिटिसाइज करेंगे. मैंने अभी कहा इनसे, मुरली कृष्णा रेड्डी जी से, जब वो कह रहे थे यहाँ पे I'll save criticism for another day, I said no, please tell us what is the scope for improvement. I think that has to be the philosophy, that has to be the approach. If India really has to grow, I think Government of India has to shed its inhibitions. Economics has to take center stage, politics has to take a back seat. Economics has to take the front seat and center stage. अगर ये नहीं होता, चाहे हम लोग कितना भाषणबाजी कर लें, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. अगर हम लोग पॉलिटिक्स को बस इलेक्शन के टाइम तक सीमित अगर नहीं रखते हैं, पॉलिटिक्स को अगर हम लोग बस इलेक्शन के टाइम जो 2-3-4 महीना जब भी चलेगा वो उसी हद तक अगर नहीं रखते हैं, अगर डे इन डे आउट अगर इलेक्शन मोड में ही हम रहेंगे, डे इन डे आउट 24 घंटा अगर हम पॉलिटिक्स को ही आगे रख के चलेंगे, तो भारत का जो सपना है, जो एक सपना है कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड कंट्री बनना है, वो मुश्किल हो जाएगा. तो इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से सपोर्ट good performing progressive states irrespective of their political affiliations. Now, what do I mean infrastructure? What I mean is, when Telangana has asked for industrial corridors, I am not permanent, nobody is permanent, none of us is permanent. When I ask for something for my state as the industry minister, or when my chief minister represents to the government or prime minister, we are asking for something in perpetuity for the well-being of my people, for the future generations of my state. We have asked for 6 industrial corridors in the state of Telangana, from Hyderabad to Bangalore, from Hyderabad to Nagpur, from Hyderabad to Warangal, from Hyderabad to Mancherial, and I think Hyderabad to Vijayawada is one, and there is one more. Now, unfortunately, we have not really received any support on that. Likewise, in the AP Reorganization Act, in 2014, when the state was bifurcated, industrial incentives, special industrial incentives were assured to not just Telangana, to my sister state Andhra Pradesh as well. 8 years, not a single incentive has been given. Now, if I ask for what is actually statutorily obligated to me, obligatory to the state, you cannot accuse me of being anti-national or, anti-union government. No, I'm asking for what is right. I'm asking for what rightfully belongs to me. So my humble request to Government of India, we may not be with you politically, but you remember, this country only has one Prime Minister. Irrespective of whether I like him or not, whether he personally likes us or not, we have to work together. There's no other choice. There is an elected Chief Minister here, there's an elected Prime Minister there. We have to work together for the benefit of the country, and then the politics can wait. My humble request to Government of India also on infrastructure. When Telangana has come out with a International Center for Arbitration and Mediation in Hyderabad, the least you could have done is encouraged us. The least you could have done is given us a pat on the back and said, अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, कुछ मदद चाहिए तो हम भी करेंगे, कुछ कंपनी आपके तरफ भी भेजेंगे ताकि वहां आर्बिट्रेशन आसानी से हो, क्योंकि ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में एंट्री इनटू अ स्टेट ही नहीं, एंट्री इनटू अ कंट्री ही नहीं, एग्जिट भी उतनी आसान होना चाहिए. अगर कोई डिस्प्यूट आ जाता है, कोई डिस्प्यूट अगर आ जाती है, तो उसका रिड्रेसल भी जल्दी से होना चाहिए. दैट डिस्प्यूट रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म आल्सो हैज टू बी रोबस्ट. दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव क्रिएटेड Hyderabad Center for International Center for Arbitration and Mediation. But without giving us a pat, without even giving us a pat, without even sanctioning us any budget, you go ahead and create a competing institution in Gujarat and sanction funds for it. मैं चाहता हूं कि गुजरात भी आगे बढ़े, मैं चाहता हूं कि महाराष्ट्र भी आगे बढ़े, मैं चाहता हूं कि छत्तीसगढ़ भी आगे बढ़े, पर तेलंगाना भी आगे बढ़े. क्योंकि भारत के निर्माण में, हिंदुस्तान के निर्माण में, आई थिंक इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट for us to realize that all states have to do well, not select few. So my humble request to Government of India, आप गिफ्ट सिटी अगर गुजरात में खड़ा करना चाहे तो खड़ा कीजिए, बट बाकी जो गिफ्ट हैं हिंदुस्तान में, अच्छे अच्छे शहर है, हैदराबाद है, बेंगलोर है, चेन्नई है, कहीं और भी है, इनको भी आप बढ़ावा दें, इनको भी आप मदद दें. आप हमें भी प्रोग्रेस के, विकास के रास्ते में साथ ले चले. सबका साथ, सबका विश्वास जो आप कहते हो, उसको बस लिप सिंपैथी पे ही, लिप सर्विस पे ही ना रखो, उसको ट्रांसलेट करो रियलिटी में, उसको एक्चुअली आगे ले जाने में भी आप मदद हमारी दे, बढ़ावा हमारी दे. और आखिरी में मैं इतना ही कहूंगा ऑन द इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ पीस. व्हेन आई से इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग पॉलिटिक्स. इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ इज अबाउट व्हाट मिस्टर रेड्डी वाज मेंशनिंग. इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ इज अबाउट ensuring that your street entrepreneurs are also taken care of, and at the same time inclusive growth is about taking care of the mega investors who have come into our country. Now that is inclusive growth. Unless we do both and do a fine balance, inclusive growth is about ensuring industry also prospers, our environment also grows. You were talking about Haritaharam. I was delighted to hear industry representatives talk about Haritaharam. Fantastic. Because Masood was mentioning Haritaharam and he said we don't talk about it often. ज़्यादा ग्लैमरस नहीं है, क्या करें, इसलिए ज़्यादा बात नहीं करते हैं. तो अगर ये दोनों साथ साथ नहीं चलते, इंडस्ट्री को बढ़ावा मिलना चाहिए. పరిశ్రమ పెరగాలి, కానీ పర్యావరణ హితంగా పెరగాలి. పరిశ్రమ పర్యావరణాన్ని ధ్వంసం చేసే విధంగా పెరిగితే it's not acceptable. That is what our Honorable Chief Minister has said. So when I say inclusive growth, Telangana is that unique state, is that one very, very interesting, shining example, and that's the reason why I call it the most successful startup of independent India. You see a very balanced development model here. You see IT exports growing by 26%. You see agriculture output also growing by, increasing by 119% over the last 8 years. You see industry growing, you see environment also growing. You see welfare happening, you see development also happening. You see rural development happening, you see urban development also happening. This is a very unique model. This government is not lopsided in its priorities. That's what I meant when I said inclusive growth. You have to have the streetpreneurs, you have to have the megapreneurs. You have to have the ecopreneurs, agripreneurs, nanopreneurs and other emerging technologies also going hand in hand. We can't just take pride that Tata यहाँ पे जहां भी एक जहाज उड़ रहा है, हवाई जहाज, मसूद ने कहा कि हर जहाज में हैदराबाद का एक पार्ट होगा, हैदराबाद में बनाया होगा एक पार्ट होगा. बहुत खुशी की बात है, बहुत फख्र की बात है. बट वी ऑल्सो हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ द स्ट्रीट, द मैन ऑन द स्ट्रीट. दैट्स इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ. सो Again, my humble request to Government of India, politics can wait. Economics has to take center stage. Economics has to take a front seat. Because मैं शायद इससे पहले भी कह चुका हूं, फिर से कहूंगा, we are completing 75 years of independence. And I say this with a bit of a pain as an Indian. August 15th this year, we'll be completing 75 years of independence. I am an Indian first, Telanganite second, Telugu, etc., etc. later. As an Indian, it pains me to see that our priorities are a bit misplaced. 1987 में शायद कुछ लोग यहाँ पे शायद बॉर्न भी नहीं होंगे, पैदा भी नहीं होंगे तब, बट 1987 में हिंदुस्तान और चीन, इंडिया एंड चाइना, we were of a very similar size economically. We were both $470 billion in 1987. But today, 35 years later, China, their economy size is $16 trillion. They're second only to the United States. India is at $3 trillion. They've surpassed our growth in the last 35 years by about 5.78 times. Now, what happened? How come similar countries, which are very similar in nature in terms of population, in terms of, say, economy size, what changed? What was different? My belief, my personal belief and my understanding is that China is focused on what's important. China has actually done some things which are truly stupendous. They've had double-digit GDP growth for 25 consecutive years because they focused on economics. They said politics can wait. And most importantly, China competed with the best in the world. They set their targets on Europe and US. They said we have to beat them. हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? 87 में सिमिलर साइज थे. हम लोग यहाँ पे बहुत खुश है. हर दिन कंपैरिजन हमारी होती है चाइना के साथ नहीं. कंपैरिजन हमारी होती है, मुकाबला हमारी होती है यूएस के साथ या सिंगापुर के साथ, यूरोप के साथ नहीं. हम लोग हर दिन इस बात से खुश हैं कि हमारी हालत जो है पाकिस्तान से बेहतर है, बांग्लादेश से बेहतर है, अफगानिस्तान से हम लोग बेहतर है. इस बात को लेकर हम लोग बहुत खुश हैं. This is where I think India has lost its opportunity, and India still, of course, is still playing catch up. You know, we are still told about this 5 trillion dream. अच्छी बात है, ख्वाब देखना अच्छी बात है, बट कैसे होगा अगर आप कंपटीशन में भी कुछ हिस्सों में, कुछ सेक्टर्स में आप अगर बांग्लादेश से भी पीछे चले जाते हो, so how will you be able to achieve that dream? When I said $470 billion is the size of China and India in 1987, let me also tell you one thing. Today China's per capita income is $9,000. India's per capita income is only $1,800. It's not about the overall size of the economy. It's also about per capita, which unfortunately we are still languishing in. And United States is around $60,000, by the way, just so that you know. So my humble request again to all of us is, I think we have to work together. I'm not wanting to bore you with an academic discourse, but I think we all have to work together. If a state like Telangana can do a few things get its priorities right and focus on few important sectors. What is in the offing today in Telangana, just so that you know, and what China has done since 87, is it has focused on manufacturing and agriculture and food processing and value addition. And in Telangana, I can assure you of one thing. Under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, since we have gotten our priorities right, you will see 5 different kinds of revolutions happening in agri and food processing sectors over the next 1 decade. You will see, you are already witnessing a green revolution, which is in the offing and which is shaping up really well. You will also see, we are number 1 now in inland fisheries in terms of fish production, which is called a blue revolution, which is again in the offing. And we are setting up a large aqua hub in one of our reservoirs. It is going to be India's largest aqua hub, which will give a further fillip to more production of fish. And as was being mentioned by Ravi Kumar Garu, even trout is being produced from Telangana today, which is a matter of great pride for us. Because we were not a state traditionally that was known for inland fisheries. So a blue revolution is in the offing. The third thing I'll tell you, which is white revolution, dairy industry, shaping up rather well with government's encouragement and mini dairies and a lot of other activities coming in. White revolution is also in the offing. The fourth thing that is likely to happen with sheep rearing and animal husbandry is pink revolution, meat processing. And the fifth revolution that is likely to come up with government's focus on edible oil is yellow revolution. Oil palm is the yellow revolution. So these 5 revolutions, yellow, pink, blue, green and white, is what will propel Telangana into the next phase of growth. It is not just life sciences, it is not just IT, it is not just aerospace or textiles. These are the sectors that are going to give a huge shot in the arm for the rural sectors, rural areas. And I am a very firm believer that next phase of growth, next spurt of growth will also come from these areas. Now just quickly telling you some of the summaries, some of the points that I wanted to mention with respect to numbers. I have lots of them right in front of me. Our per capita back in 2014, when the state was formed, was 1,24,000 rupees. Today, Telangana's per capita has risen by 128% to 2,78,000 rupees in a space of about 8 years. Our gross state domestic product, GSDP, was 5 lakh crores, 5,06,000 crores back in 2014. Today, it is 11.55 lakh crores. Again, 130% increase. No state in India has been able to see this kind of growth rate. And let me remind you, all of this despite 3 important impediments. One, demonetization, I think, which has hurt the economy badly, and we are seeing still some fallout of it. 2, COVID, which lasted for 2 years and which is still lasting. And 3, very little or zero support from Government of India. In spite of these 3 impediments, in spite of these 3 challenges, we have not lost hope, we have not lost heart, and we continue to toil hard, and that's why 128% increase in our per capita, 130% increase in our GSDP, and significant portion of that, of course, comes from agriculture and allied sector, contributes to about 16.3%. Again, that has increased to almost 18.3%. Now, industrial sector, our contribution to the state's GSVA is about 20.4%. And again, thanks largely to TIDR, TSI Pass, T-Pride, etc., etc. The services sector has also been growing at 18.3%. Now, most important and impressive, figure for me from a personal perspective is Telangana is the 11th largest state geographically in India among all the 28 states. We are the 12th largest state in India in terms of our population, but we are the 4th largest contributor to India's economy among all the 28 states. Now that is the power of Telangana. We are only 2.5% in terms of our population in the country, but our contribution to the GDP of the nation is 5%. Just to put things in perspective, हमारी जो population है 4 करोड़ है, contribution 5% है. उत्तर प्रदेश की population है 24 करोड़, उनकी contribution 15% है. Just to put things in perspective, just to let you know how well Telangana has done over the last years. Now, like I mentioned, we've been able to attract large investors, but what's even more impressive is we've been able to continuously create infrastructure. The TSIIC has been consistently involved in creation of new industrial infrastructure parks. Of course, the report will tell you more about how many parks have been created last year, in the last 7 years, etc., etc. I'll not go into the numbers because they're boring. So therefore, I'll not go too much into the numbers. Number of new companies have come in: Gokuldas, Malabar Gold, Pokarna. I'm only talking about last year, last 1 year's report, since this is Denmark's Integrated Gas Technologies, Plug and Play Tech Center, Bosch, a German company, Drillmec, again an Italian company, Grimner. All of these, have come in the last year. And let me give you a sector by sector kind of a breakup. In pharma sector, which is again one of our strong areas, life sciences. For those of you who do not know, we are the vaccine capital of the world. 1/3 of human vaccines are actually produced from Hyderabad, 9 billion doses. We also have the largest number of US FDA approved manufacturing facilities for any province in the world. The second largest number is actually in New Jersey, United States. So we are a vaccine capital, we are a life sciences capital, we are also the bulk drugs, pharmaceutical capital of India. So with all these, strengths, we try to further consolidate. Ivanhoe Cambridge, a Canadian company, has announced $100 million in investment. Syngene is expanding operations. Japan Bio is also expanding. Companies like Porus Life Sciences, CVR Life Sciences, Dandu Biosciences, Laurus Synthesis are investing around 500 crores. JAMP Pharmaceuticals, a Canadian company, has expanded. S3V Vascular Technologies has announced a new investment of 250 crores in medical devices park. In food processing, you just saw some very important announcements being made. Amul is setting up a state-of-the-art plant, which also will be the largest in South India. Mars Pet Care is investing 500 crores, again in expansion. They manufacture largely, the pet care, pedigree and other stuff. Fishin, a large American company and aquaculture major, they export a lot of tilapia, and they also export a lot of frozen foods to the United States. Is investing about 1,000 crores, and they are going to be an anchor client of the Aqua Hub that we are proposing at Mid-Maner, the Rajarajeshwara Sagara Reservoir in Rajana Sirsila. Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages is setting up a state-of-the-art new 1,000 crore bottling plant in Telangana. In aerospace and defense, VEM Technologies has announced a mega project with an investment of 1,000 crores at Hyderabad. We also have had the Rolls-Royce Group's Spanish aerospace subsidiary, ITP Aero, inaugurate their new facility last year. In EVs and automotive investments, Triton, the US-based electric vehicle company, which is investing about 2,100 crores in setting up a new factory in NIMS Zahirabad. Life Auto, which is a German company, is going to invest about 1,500 crores. One Moto has earmarked about 250 crores to set up its first production plant. Grafton Motors, a Hyderabad-based plant, will also invest about 150 crores. The Madras Rubber Factory, MRF Tires, will invest another 1,000 crores in expansion of their existing facility. Also create a new specialty assembly line at Sangareddy. Bility Electric, a US company, will set up world's largest three-wheeler factory in Telangana. I can go on, there's plenty of others. And textiles, Wellspun, Mukesh was speaking, thank you. They're expanding, and their new plant with advanced materials is also ready for the inauguration. They've already invested more than 1,100 crores in Telangana since 2019. Thank you very much. Kundana Techno-Tex, another part of the Pashupati Group, has commissioned its PET recycling unit in Chandanvelli in Shabad. They're also growing. Kitex Garments, initially they planned about 2,400 crores of investment. Looks like it's going to grow up in Warangal, in Chandanvelli, and looks like they're also exploring a third location. Again, I can go on. There's plenty of others. In jute mills are also coming up in Telangana. In pharma and life sciences, more than 215 investment proposals in 2021-22, worth more than 6,400 crores. And it keeps growing because of our strengths, because of our team's tenacious efforts. I thank Shakti and the entire team, Akhil, Shakti, Mihir, and the entire team, for their Gopal, Sujay, and the entire team, all the directors who've been doing extremely well. Genome Valley will be expanded. We have already announced it. Covaxin and Corbevax, both are being produced from Hyderabad. We've also had a first round of discussions with Serum Institute recently. Hopefully something will come off with them as well. Medical Devices Park, over 50 companies in Sultanpur are setting up their manufacturing plant. We recently inaugurated Asia's largest stent manufacturing facility in Medical Devices Park, run by SMT, a Gujarat-based Indian company, Indian MNC. We're also establishing a biopharma hub, a B hub in Genome Valley. The work is under progress, and hopefully it will be complete in the next 12 months. In food processing, like I said, special food processing zones are in the offing, with each of them a minimum size of 500 acres. Micro food processing enterprises are also being promoted. More than 6,311 SHG members have received rupees 40,000 as seed capital to establish micro enterprises. More than 4,575 existing enterprises have also been shortlisted for upgradation. In automotive and EV, a lot of investments coming in electric vehicles, more than 5,000 crores, generating about 8,000 employment. Aerospace and defense, thank you Masood, to Tata's, and the entire aerospace ecosystem. It continues to, shape up really well. Delivery of the 100th Apache fuselage by Tata Boeing was a matter of great pride for us. Delivery of the 150th empennage of C-130, the Super Hercules helicopter by Tata Lockheed Martin, was also a great matter of pride. Delivery of the first F-16 fighter jet wings from Tata Lockheed Martin was also very, very momentous. And delivery of the first mid-section fuselage of LCA Tejas aircraft by WEM Technologies was also very important milestone which was achieved last year. In handlooms and textiles, the Netannaku Cheyuta program, which benefits the weavers in terms of a thrift scheme. So far, 96.43 crores have been distributed to more than 20,000 plus weavers. Cheneta Mitra, a subsidy program which gives basically subsidy on yarn and chemicals. We have released more than 21.67 crores directly into the bank accounts of 20,000 weavers. Department of Handlooms and Textiles, of course, has launched a new policy, and incentives worth 167.9 crores have already been dispersed. Logistics, again, is a very important sector. Toys is a very important sector. I can go on. But Rich, headed by Ajit Rangnekar and his team, has also been doing extremely well. And another very important initiative that I'm proud of, because Mr. Reddy mentioned the small entrepreneurs. No state in the country has a program called the Telangana Industrial Health Clinic. What we do here, sir, is we work with the small and micro enterprises who are in incipient sixth stage, and without financial intervention, we've been able to negotiate with banks, get them funded, and so far the value of funding, so that they actually don't end up as sick industries. But I request both FICCI, CII, FITAPC, all of you to work with us, because I think it's important, like you said, the big boys might not need our help, but I think the smaller, the medium, the micro entrepreneurs, of course, need all the help from various industry bodies, from various government agencies and banks. So I request your unstinted cooperation there as well. Mr. Ranjit, was very complimentary, and he said, India's largest chili extraction plant is in Telangana. Delighted that, you are expanding. Food processing continues to remain a very, very important sector. Mahesh ji of DP, thank you very much, sir, for pointing out that industrial production is ramping up in the erstwhile Mahbub Nagar and new Rangareddy districts. Logistics, again, by virtue of our geographical centricity in India, Telangana has a lot more potential in terms of logistics. As we continue to expand our manufacturing presence, as we continue to attract more and more manufacturing companies to Telangana, I think logistics sector will also blossom simultaneously. I wanted to thank Masood and of course Mukesh, who also spoke, and all the other dignitaries, Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Reddy, Mr. Shekhar Reddy again, and to both of my chairmen, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan and also Balamalu Garu, for their unstinted support. But most of all, Jayesh Ranjan, E.V. Narsimha Reddy, Krishna Bhaskar, and the entire team of Industries Department. Thank you for all the hard work, for the brilliant work that you guys have put in. I think you guys deserve all the credit. Thank you very much. Jai Telangana.
Jai Telangana, and thank you so much.
మీరు చూస్తున్నారు iDream News ని.
Please subscribe
iDreams.
For more videos,
Subscribe
iDream. Please subscribe for more videos.
iDream.
For more videos.
Subscribe iDream.
Please subscribe.
సబ్స్క్రైబ్ iDream ఛానల్.
Do subscribe iDream.
iDream ఛానల్ ని
సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి. Do watch iDream.